Hello everyone. It's Madane here, talking safety. And on this one, I quickly want to share with us about job hazard analysis and safe work procedure. That's JHA and SWP. So JHA, you could see something like job safety analysis (JSA) or job hazard assessment (JHA) also. So it all mean the same thing. So what I really want to talk about on this one is that completing a job hazard assessment or analysis isn't just everything to ensure safety about work. So it needs to be taken further in ensuring that there is a safe work procedure in completing each of those tasks that you've highlighted in the job hazard analysis. So you should know uh, the major things that you need to do to ensure that safety is prioritized at your workplace. So let's have a look at it. I will just run through a quick one on job hazard analysis, which is an assessment tool designed to collect information that's regarding the potential hazards and risk that a worker is faced in completing his job. So you know how important that is, because if you do not envisage for threats and hazards, then of course the personnel who is to carry out the job is definitely going to face them. And if you're not well prepared, it's going to turn to an accident, or let's say an incident. Sometimes it could just be a near miss, but sometimes it could be quite devastating as the worker is not well prepped and prepared for the task he is about uh, to take. So this job task or the job itself need to be broken into steps about what you're going to do. So for instance, if you're going to offload petrol from a tanker into the safe of a fueling station, it requires some kind of steps. So you need to break the job into steps. Then from there you analyze the potential hazard that you could face and the threats you could face completing each of those sequences of steps. Of course, you also put in consideration who is at risk. The kind of risk that someone who is disabled in one way or the other completing a job is different from the kind of risk that someone else who has no disability faces in completing that same job. Or let's take a pregnant person and someone who isn't pregnant, so they don't face the same kind of threat because of the vulnerability in which some set of personnel uh, are in. So, of course, after highlighting the potential threats and hazards that the worker could face, putting into consideration the person who is to take care of the job or the task, then you need to recommend control measures through which this hazard that you've identified can be mitigated. You know, starting with the hierarchy of controls: elimination, substitution, uh, engineering, administration, all the way to PPE and signages. So putting all of those in consideration. And one other last thing that is very important in job hazard assessment is who will be responsible for all those recommendations that you've outlined. Okay, if you know that someone is going to face potential of falling from height completing his work or task, then you need to put someone in charge that is going to be responsible for taking care of that hazard you have just highlighted. All right, so any work that has no responsible persons will be quite difficult to ensure the safety of it. So now, well, let's look at safe work procedure. Safe work procedure is simply a step-by-step written instruction that the employer wants the employee to follow in safely completing the job that has been assigned to him or her. So this is quite important, and I'm going to use this analogy to ensure your better understanding of why SWP is important in every job task. All right, let's take for instance you are going to use a machinery, maybe a rotating cutter machine. A rotating cutter machine has a switch that powers it. then it has a power adapter which you plug to the power source that powers it. Do we get that? So if you put uh the power put the power that power on, about the that's the power of the machine, you put it on, but you put the switch off, of course the machine will be idle, the machine won't work. But if you go straight and put on the power source, the machine is going to kick off immediately. So that is not safe. And the reason why you do that is because there's no safe work procedure for using that machinery. So a safe work procedure should be a clearly written one, all right, to say, okay, this machine, for you to use it, the its own power, that's the machine power, has to be off. Then the power source needs to be off to be idle. And when you want to use the machine, you put the power on from the source, then you come back to put the power of the machine on by yourself. That will ensure that you are in charge of the process of using the machine, instead of putting the power of the machine on, then going straight to also put the power of the power source, the switch of the power source on. So that is exactly how important it is to ensure a well-written instruction for completing or using a particular machinery. I hope that this helps in some ways of keeping you much safer at your workplace, to ensure that you go to work with your two hands and two eyes, and you return back home to your family just as you went. Thank you on this one.